I know what you're thinking. That's not Yugi, those aren't his friends, and that's definitely not Blue Eyes White Dragon.
It is
So how
not.
can
It is
this
that is
be
Galaxy Ice
considered a
Cipher
remake?
Dragon, my goat.
And yeah, it's true. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal doesn't have any of the same characters as the original. It's not set in the same location or time period as the original. In fact, not only is Blue Eyes missing, none of the cards are the same. But hear me out, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal is indeed a remake. I know remakes are often characterized as being an updated version of something that already exists, but hold up, because remakes come in more flavors than just that. Let me break it down for you. The first type is basically a replacement. Take for instance the Hunter x Hunter anime from 2011.
That shit was
If you
peak.
caught that, then there's not much reason to go back to the 1999 version. Maybe you prefer the 1990s aesthetic, but at the end of the day, the newer one pretty much takes over. But there's another flavor, and trust me, it's the tastier one.
The Mewtwo movie got a remake? You didn't know? You didn't know? Yeah, they made a 3D version of the Mewtwo movie, and it's kind of cursed looking. It's kind of cursed looking, but yeah, there's a CG remake. I've seen the timeline theory video. I have a long time ago, but I have. If I remember correctly, right? The timeline splits in two. Is it after GX or is it after 5Ds? Because then it goes it's after GX because Solid Vision exists in what's it called? In 5Ds, but it does not exist in Zexal, but it just gets invented again in Arc 5. Yes. So Solid Vision changes everything. It's supposed to be after 5Ds right now. I think it's before 5Ds. But yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. Anyway, back to the video, I'm sorry. I'm a yapper, I'm sorry.
The reimagining. Picture this. Same basic ingredients.
Wait, is that Devilman? I'm sorry, I love Devilman. Yeah, I love Devilman. I used to be a big Devilman fan, and I remember distinctly in college, like getting like fucking sloshed, straight up like drunk as hell in my dorm room, just watching Devilman like all the time. I've seen it so many times. Devilman manga or Crybaby? I'm talking about Crybaby. If you also have not seen the English dub of the original Devilman anime, it's fucking awesome. It's so good. It's fucking peak. Devilman Crybaby is insane to me. It's so good. If you've not seen Devilman Crybaby, you should. Oops, what's...
Characters get a fresh look. The plot, similar, but maybe served in a different dish, like a new time period or a different place. Sprinkle in a few twists and turns that weren't there in the original recipe, and bam, you've got yourself a second serving coexisting happily with the original. And where does Zexal fit into this tasty spectrum? You guessed it, it's a reimagining through and through. But here's the kicker. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, in many ways, stays truer to the roots of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga than its Duel Monsters predecessor ever did.
Oh.
They did such a good job that nobody even noticed. I know appearances can be deceiving, but nearly every aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal can be traced back to the original story. The main character summons a spirit with his golden necklace to aid him in duels. His rival sports a blue-eyed dragon. And the first major story arc is a tournament featuring top duelists from around the globe, and it's hosted by a rich eccentric. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal goes the extra mile by incorporating manga elements that were skipped over by the 2000s anime. Most of the important stuff eventually made its way into Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, like how Yugi and the Pharaoh met, and how Kaiba became a billionaire CEO before graduating from high school. But it was either briefly glossed over or told in the wrong order. There are still a ton of people who consider Kaiba's backstory from the anime to be filler, but his backstory was derived from an early arc of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga, even though it is a bit different. And it's not part of just any filler arc, it's the one that interrupts Battle City, arguably Yu-Gi-Oh!'s best arc. So not only are people going to doubt its authenticity, tons of people are going to outright skip it in order to—
Wait, do people not... Wait, they think it's filler? They don't think it's like real? What? Yeah, that was my biggest pet peeve with the original Duel Monsters as well. As a season 0 enjoyer, the fact that something's just told out of order drives me insane. You fans reading real could not be them. I wanted to actually watch Zexal for a while, but couldn't back then. I wish I could have watched it later to watch my favorite archetype in anime. I mean, you can watch it now. It still exists. The VR stuff was filler, yeah, but you're right. If it was during Virtual World, then yeah, people probably think it's filler. That's so unfortunate. A lot of people go to the filler websites, get a bunch of good stuff from Duel. Oh, I see. see. I see. Yeah, that sucks then. They cut out all the cool stuff. I still hate how they make when Yugi meets Joey and I keep trying to call him Honda, but his name's not Honda. Tristan, thank you. When he meets Tristan, right? I hate that they make it like a shitty montage. Cause those episodes were so good. I think it was a few episodes, can't remember. It's been so long. Like it was so good. And I feel like it really gave more depth to the characters. So I'm really sad that they're just like a flashback. They don't even actually do the flashback. It's more like Joey is just like, remember how we became friends? I took your thing. I threw it in the water. Now we're friends. His name's Honda. Cool. Poor Tristan, forgettable to the end. No, I just want to call him by a Japanese name for some reason. Like, I've been slowly getting myself to call them by the English names again. Because, like, what? Joey always been Joey. Even after watching and, like, loving season 0, I never called him Jonochi. He was always Joey. But for a long time, I would call Taya Anzu, but I still call Tristan Honda. Jonochi's too long, so I get it. Yeah, Jonochi's too long. It's interesting because Joey and Tristan were horrible bullies. Yeah, they weren't good at the job of being bullies. Yeah, season 0 is really good. If you've never seen it, it's a good anime, like, period. Like, not just a card game anime. It's just good. And they actually do cover the card game stuff. It's maybe, like, 2 episodes, I think, but they do play Duel Monsters. Yeah, Joey killed Bruce Lee. That's crazy. Anyway, back to the video. Sorry.
Finished the arc that they were already watching. And the story behind Yugi and the Pharaoh was relegated to a flashback, and so much of it was left out, like how the Pharaoh was originally a bad guy and Yugi was afraid of him.
True.
It's crazy because Yugi and the Pharaoh don't work together as a team until the end of Duelist Kingdom, but Duel Monsters introduces them as a single entity with a split personality. Whenever Yugi enters a duel, he becomes brave and courageous because he's now a duelist, and then when it's over, he's a nice, kind-hearted boy who just wants to hang out with his friends. What I love about Zexal is that all the pieces are there, but they're not just loosely thrown into the story. They're presented in a logical order, contributing to a much more cohesive journey. That's why, even though it's officially a Yu-Gi-Oh! Spin-off, it feels like a genuine nod to the original manga. Now, not every bit of it is true to the manga. The visuals are obviously different, but even beyond that, there are loads of factors that lean more towards reimagining the story than strictly remaking it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal is definitely not a replacement for the original story, and I'm not trying to persuade anyone that it outshines the Duel Monsters anime in terms of one-to-one adaptations. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal does the manga proud in key ways that the Duel Monsters anime.
Didn't Takahashi help with this season? Did he really? Could I disconnect with the original mangas because he had to restart to make it more about card games? That is true. Yeah, I thought the last bit of involvement was 5Ds. I thought Zexal was the first one that he didn't do. Yeah, I thought this was the first time he'd have any involvement in it, and the last one was 5Ds. People really did the card game. True. It does suck how the trajectory of the manga completely changed because of the card game. He's revised and gave the character designs. That makes me so sad because I fucking hate the character designs of Zexal. They look so bad. I'm telling you, I remember distinctly being a Tumblr girly when Zexal first started airing and we got screenshots of like the character designs or the PG of the character design, the character portraits, and being like, what the fuck is this? What is this? I had a peak Yugi boomer moment. I was like, back in my day, no one ever looked this horrible. Okay, Quattro does look really cool. I will give you that one. Quattro's cool as hell. Kaito's still pretty cool. I hate his hair, but Kaito's cool. Quattro's so cool, bro. He's so cool. Astral Shark and Kaito are cool. They're cool, but they all look ugly. I love it. What aside for Yuma? I like them all, these characters. They all just look ugly.
Simply missed the mark on. Take, for instance, Yuma's journey with Astral, which mirrors Yugi's journey with the Pharaoh.
Sure.
Both start off trying to help a friend, but end up in over their heads. Then a spirit is summoned from their necklaces, and they're able to turn things around. From then on, they're able to use the spirit to win over unlikely friends, establish heated rivalries, and reach new heights. But here's where things also begin to diverge from the original story. Yugi, without the help of the spirit, was very good at playing games. I don't blame you for not knowing that since the Pharaoh takes over for 99% of his duels, but in the manga arcs that Duel Monsters skipped over, Yugi was good at a ton of different games, Duel Monsters included, and people would often cheat in order to beat him because they couldn't beat him fairly. This is when the Pharaoh would take over. Since he's an ancient game master with magical dark powers, his role was to find a way to get around the cheating.
Oh my god, Mokuba! Fucking Mokuba's a fucking goblin in the fucking manga, dude. Oh my god. He's a creature. But yeah, it does make me sad that people think that like Yugi sucks, or that he's not good at games, or the Pharaoh's just that much better, and it's really not the case. Like, he's equally as good, even in Duel Monsters, right? But it's not like, I feel like people misinterpret that and see the Pharaoh as better because he's more like authoritative and aggressive, and people like, how do you say? They internalize that as him just being better. He beats the Pharaoh in the last duel, it's true. Anzu interpreted that way. Well, Anzu sucks. Yugi's very passionate about gaming, but didn't have the confidence to truly True, that's exactly what it is. He's had no confidence. The main difference between the two is being evil. It's not being evil, it's confidence. Though in theory, not in theory, though technically, yeah, the Pharaoh was kind of evil at the beginning. Remember he almost beat the Pharaoh in Orichalcum arc and purposely lost? I don't remember the fucking Orichalcum's arc, bro. Yeah, that's one thing I also don't like about Duel Monsters. They downgraded Mokuba significantly. I think I mentioned this before. Yeah, Mokuba is my favorite character from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Mokuba for two reasons. One is that in the manga, he's a goblin. He's literally a menace. Like, Kaiba's a little bitch, but Mokuba's even more of a little bitch. Like, Mokuba's a menace to society. But I also enjoy Mokuba because he's a strong relationship with his brother Kaiba, and like, basically any character paired like that, I like a lot. Because it's like me and my older brother. Like, how I love Matt and TK because it's super dynamic. Yeah, he's really chill in the anime, but in the manga, he's a freaking menace. He's a little freak. Can't remember Mokuba doing anything besides screaming, "Seto!" Yeah, they really downgraded Mokuba hard. Yeah, they did him dirty. But it's fine. This anime's old. I can't fix it. Your brother's evil henchman? No. Well, he had goons. In a lot of early Shadow games, he basically picked a game that took advantage of their hubris so it would defeat themselves. Yeah. But you were Jeff's Season 0 Mokuba? Basically. Mokuba was more like Noah. Yeah, basically Noah took aspects of the Kaiba brothers from the original manga and made another guy out of it. Yeah, also the filler arc where Mokuba just made his brother a princess was weird. I don't know. That was strange. Remember in 2004 World Champions game for Game Boy Advance, Mokuba was kind of a gremlin. Yeah, Mokuba was a little goblin. Yeah, they even gave him green hair. Yeah, literally, Noah is just the Kaiba brothers from Season 0 mashed into one character. Okay, anyway, back to the video.
And still win without stooping to their level. The Pharaoh kind of took over Yugi's role as well since cheating became less of a thing in Duelist Kingdom. Maybe it became the only thing, depends on how you look at it. But the point is that both Yugi and the Pharaoh were good at playing Duel Monsters. Yuma, on the other hand, is very bad at Duel Monsters. In the first episode, he gets mocked by his own friends when he claims that he wants to be a Duel Monsters champion. And his lack of skill is what gets him into trouble until Astral appears and bails him out. One of Yuma's friends loses his deck in a wager duel. Yuma tries to win it back by wagering his own deck, and he's still not good at the game. No matter how much he cherishes their friendship, it doesn't make him any better. That is, until Astral appears from his necklace when he's about to lose. He tells Yuma what to do in order to win, and they narrowly manage to do so. But
yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like what people think Yugi is what Yuma actually is, which is kind of crazy. I just hate the hair. Yeah, the hair is pretty bad. But yeah, it's crazy to think that like basically how people interpret Yugi is just Yuma. He's better at everything but had heart. Yeah. You was like a total noob in the first arc, he did. No, it's crazy to me how like, what's it called? Like, I don't know. The whole like point of the anime is to show off like XC summoning. But the fact that Yuma only had one at the beginning was crazy. He only had the one, he had no idea what it was. Yeah, he gets new XCs every episode. The whole plot was like he was trying to get number monsters and he would steal everyone's when he won. Yuma's a brokey and a noob, me too. Anyway, back to the video.
And this is another thing that I love that they changed. It's not even debatable. Astral cannot possess Yuma like the Pharaoh did to Yugi. Instead of sharing a body, Astral exists outside of Yuma as a spirit that only he can see. And I'm such a big fan of this change because the biggest issue with Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters is that Yugi is the main character of the series. It's named after him. But he takes a back seat after the Death T arc, which ended on chapter 40 of the manga, before the Duel Monsters anime even begins. Then at the end of the series, Yugi duels against the Pharaoh and wins, even though he barely did anything for most of the series. How is anyone supposed to expect Yugi to be better than the Pharaoh if it's been so long since Yugi succeeded at anything without the Pharaoh? Again, Yugi does do a lot more in the early arcs of the manga, but this is not present in the 2000s anime adaptation. And even if we're talking about the manga, most of the series is the Duel Monsters portion. It's unfortunate too because Yugi was such a good character to follow. His journey as a shy nerd who uses gaming to make friends was so relatable. But then he's essentially replaced by the Pharaoh, who's good at everything. He's even taller. What I love about Yuma and Astral is that Astral can't do anything for Yuma. They never step on each other's toes because they have separate roles. Astral takes the role of a teacher. He advises Yuma, and Yuma doesn't even listen half the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking say that. No, I was gonna say, what I really enjoy about Yuma is that Yuma's like, okay, I will just do everything you say. I will have no autonomy. Whatever you say to me, I'm just gonna do it, right? Even episode 1, like, during the fight with Shark, like, Yuma's like, no, what are you saying to me? Stupid. he just like takes the L. He's so real though. He's so real. But Yuma's always wrong. Yeah, but at least I don't know. I kind of respect people that are willing to make their own mistakes. Even if he's wrong, like, you learn more that way, right? So it made Yuma better to make those mistakes. Yuma hates backseating and I love it. Real. He's confidently wrong. True, he was confidently wrong. But he learned and he got better. I always saw that when time took over, Yugi's bones would freaking crack like crazy. He would shout, Yu-Gi-Oh! To mask the cracking bones! Yeah, I always interpreted Yugi and the Pharaoh looking different to be like a thing for the viewer to recognize so that we knew that Yugi was different. I think the season 0 anime did it better because he's not taller or like changes very much. It's like his eye shape changes almost. Like he like locks in more when he is the Pharaoh. But the 2000 anime just made him like a completely different person when he becomes the Pharaoh. It's kind of weird. Like he gets taller, his voice deepens significantly, his hair changes too. He unshrimps himself, yeah. Yeah, the seasons are only his face changes. I feel like it made the illusion better. His balls drop. I can't remember if his hair changes in both, but I know for sure he doesn't in Duel Monsters. Okay, anyway, back to the video.
It really feels like there are two distinct leads, each with their own quirks and struggles. They don't even like each other for quite some time. Yuma doesn't want to be bossed around, so he ignores Astral, even to his own detriment. And Astral is annoyed because he's so good at dueling, but he can't duel. He has to follow around some kid who sucks at the game and is too immature to even follow his instructions.
Wait, is Astral and Yuma just me with Chat? Like when Chat gives me advice, I say no, and they're like, why are you doing this? Stop! We're your Astral. Half the time Chat's also wrong. True. Chat, but you can't leave. It's just too Yuma. That's so funny. It makes so much sense because you're confidently wrong about Tachyon. What do you mean? That's how you say it. Learn to read, Chat. Oh my god. Chat was me Astral. His hair's weird. 3 Yumas in a trench coat. No, I would say, like, Chat is, like, 2 Yumas and, like, a Kaito.
At least that's how it starts out. Over the course of the series, the two learn to work together as Yuma develops his dueling skills and Astral becomes more compassionate. And this idea is present in the original manga. It's just almost completely gone from the Duel Monsters anime. And another thing that's completely missing is a key part of Joey's character arc. It's common knowledge that Joey's not a good student, and he doesn't have the best home life since his parents got divorced. But they never explain how Joey went from—
Wait, is that what it is in season 0? In Duel Monsters? I thought his dad was like a drunk and like, wasn't he like in a gang? I can't remember. For sure, his dad had an alcohol problem. Is that what Joey's meant to be? His dad was a gambler. Oh, I see. His dad was in Yakuza 0. That's what it was. His dad was a drunk gambling addict. I see. But yeah, that's so funny how they changed to be like, my dad just got divorced. I don't know, Latin America knows that changed a lot of plot points. Really? That's crazy. His dad was Ichiban from Like a Dragon? No, Ichiban's my go. What do you mean? Ichiban's so nice. Ichiban's so good. What do you mean?
being a delinquent to becoming Yugi's best friend. Think about it. Their personalities are so different. At the start of Duel Monsters, Joey isn't even good at games, so it makes you wonder how they even connected to begin with. And I'm sure you saw this coming. It's explained at the beginning of the Yu-Gi-Oh manga.
True,
Yugi
it is.
and Joey weren't friends, but they weren't exactly enemies either. In the first chapter, Joey views Yugi as a wimp, so he frequently teases him. At one point, he takes something away from Yugi and dares him to do something about it. Yugi isn't afraid of Joey, but he's not strong enough to stop him, so he kinda just puts up with it.
Actually, now that I'm looking at it, it's funky to see how much the art style has changed since the beginning, right? Everyone's so round. It's so round. It almost gives off like an American artist trying to draw anime. Right? Like, it gives off those very early 2000s how to draw anime books. You just have a nose. He doesn't have a nose. He can't smell. The detailed teeth. Yeah, you'd have like actual teeth. I'm not fat shaming. It's the art style is very round. They're not pointy. Joey was ugly. No, Joey looked fine. His hair was just kind of weird. Why does Joey have big hands? Everyone was like that. That's just the art style at the time. Yowie hands.
Later, Yugi discovers that Joey was attacked by
Tetsu!
a real bully named Ushio. Yes, it's the same guy from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. And to Joey's surprise, Yugi stands up to Ushio to defend him. Yugi knows that Joey is only trying to make him stronger, so while the teasing is annoying, he believes that Joey's heart is in the right place. This prompts Joey to return the stolen item, which happened to be the last piece of Yugi's necklace. Yugi puts it together and summons the Pharaoh for the first time. Ushio is defeated in
Same guy? Yeah, you didn't know? Yeah, so Trudge from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is the bully that is Yugi's bully from Duel Monsters. I don't know timeline-wise how that works, but yes, they're the same person. Yeah, so what happened was Joey, like, they would pull like small pranks on Yugi. Like, I wouldn't say Joey and Tristan were like full-on bullies, but they would like do little pranks. So like literally before like the beginning of the chapter, Yugi's like talking about his like treasure to Anzu and is like, this is my prized possession. I've been working on this puzzle for so long. I'm so close to completing it. I'm so excited. And Anzu's like, wow, that's cool. Okay. So I think at one point Yugi steps away. So to be a little shit, Joey like takes the last piece or one of the last pieces and throws it in the little like river outside the school. It's almost like a little moat. It's kind of funny, but it's like a little river in there, and then he throws it in there, and then Yugi can't complete the puzzle, and then he gets bullied by Tetsu, and he gets the shit beat out of him, like, because I think Tetsu says he's gonna beat up Joey and Honda, and he's like, no, beat me up instead. So he got the shit beat out of him. So while he's getting beat up, he's like, man, I wish I could complete the puzzle. So Joey runs and jumps in the water, finds the last piece. So while he's getting the shit beat out of him, Joey's like, here's the last piece of the puzzle. And he goes, oh, thanks. And then puts the puzzle piece together. And then the Pharaoh comes. And then they do Shadow Game. That's the plot of the first episode of season 0. Roughly, that's the plot. But that's what happens. Yeah, so he jumps in the river and gets the piece for Yugi. Yeah, and then Yugi, or the Pharaoh, mind breaks Trudge. It's awesome. That's what it was. Yeah, he was beating up Joey and Tristan first, and they're trying to extort Yugi out of it. And then Yugi's like, no, beat me up instead. Yeah, it's also in Duel Monsters, but it's very, very short. They don't really explain heavily what happened. Anyway, back to the video. We're only 10 minutes in. Oh my
battle
God.
game, ensuring that he will never bully anyone ever again. Joey is astonished by Yugi's bravery, and the two become friends from that point onward. And that's only how they met. The story doesn't stop there. Multiple times throughout the first arc of the manga, the bond between Yugi and Joey is tested. There's a part where Joey's delinquent past catches up with him. Before he enrolled at Domino High, he was part of a gang. This gang finds him hanging around Yugi, and they threaten him, so he rejoins the gang on the condition that his friends at Domino High won't be harmed by them. Eventually, Yugi finds out what Joey's been doing for him, and he, along with his other friends, decide to take down the gang. And my favorite instance of this is when the roles are reversed. Yugi beats somebody in a video game at an arcade, then his opponent beats him up in real life. Joey follows.
Why the fuck is Yugi being beat up? This is. Everyone wants to beat up this poor child. Oh my God. This poor child. Everyone keeps punching him. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. They hate short kings. Sure, they hate short kings. That's crazy.
Follows the guy into an alley and challenges him to a game involving real hand-to-hand combat. And of course he wins. I love this chapter because it depicts Joey using his fists to protect someone, whereas before, he would fight people over dumb stuff like territory as a gang member. It's truly amazing how much these two go through before Duelist Kingdom, and it's unfortunate that so many people will never know the full story. That's why I think everyone should read the manga.
True,
But don't
you
worry,
should.
as you might have guessed, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal has you covered. The guy who threatens to take Yuma's deck in the first episode is another student from Yuma's school named Shark. Now, it probably won't come as a shock to learn that Yuma and Shark become best friends later down the line, but what's interesting is that despite having a relationship similar to Yugi's and Joey's, they kind of swap roles. Yuma is the inferior duelist, and Shark is the one who has a reputation as being a top player. And even though Shark is a delinquent at the start of the series, his past is quite different from Joey's. He was never a Duel Monsters champion or anything crazy like that, but he's well known in his community since he made it to the semifinals of a big tournament. The problem is Shark got disqualified, so it's not exactly a positive reputation.
Yeah, wait. Wasn't it Quattro that fucked up Shark's deck? Am I like remembering correctly? Right? Do you guys remember in Pokemon when someone ate a card and was like deck check them and try to get someone disqualified? Didn't that happen to Shark? Like Quattro stole a card and was like, judge, deck check, and then he fucking got disqualified. Imagine if Quattro, instead of just using a card, just like eat it and was like deck check 10. Quattro places deck in Shark's room. Oh, I see. Yeah, it was a fucked up story. Yes, it sucks. Shark knows his opponent runs Fear Force. What an unfair advantage. Hey, Quattro set up Shark. Yeah. Anyway, back to you.
He was caught examining another duelist deck before a match, and that's against the rules. Since being disqualified, Shark has been on a downward spiral. He stopped attending school, frequently hangs out with criminals, and he even quits playing Duel Monsters after losing to Yuma in the beginning. His journey kind of reminds me of Bandit Keith. But things change for the better when Yuma challenges Shark again. Even though Yuma won their first duel, he recognizes that he only won because Astral was there to help. He even received a special card from Astral. But Yuma's had time to improve since the last time he faced Shark, and he doesn't like the fact that Shark quit playing as a result of losing to him. This time, Yuma promises that he will try to beat Shark without using Astral's help or any of the cards that he received from Astral. Shark doesn't accept the challenge, but then Yuma wagers his necklace, a prized possession that came from his father, on the condition that if Yuma wins, Shark has to quit hanging around with thugs. Shark begrudgingly accepts, and Yuma loses. First of all, I didn't see that
Rest
coming.
in peace,
When I watched
brother.
this, I totally expected Yuma to win. Another thing that I didn't see coming, Yuma used the special card that he got from Astral anyway. He betrayed his promise and still lost. Really goes to show how bad Yuma is at playing Duel Monsters. But that's not what's important here. What's important is that Yuma's determination sparked something within Shark. In the next episode, Yuma finds out that Shark's group is planning to rob a museum, and he challenges them to a duel outside of the museum, and the loser has to go home. Shark decides to join Yuma in a tag duel against the other thugs. It seems that Yuma's undying spirit is starting to rub off on Shark, and now
Okay, I don't know if this is like a hot take or like a surprisingly cold take, right? But I feel like every best duel in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are always tag duels. Every tag duel's fire. This is so peak how to never watch it. Oh, let me get you his channel. Enigma does like, okay, it's gonna be showing the rest of his channel. But yeah, he does a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! like video essays. It's just a fuck ton of like not theories, like video essays. If you want to check them out, they're very good. Anyway, back to the video.
The next episode, Yuma finds out that Shark's group is planning to rob a museum, and he challenges them to a duel outside of the museum, and the loser has to go home. Shark decides to join Yuma in a tag duel against the other thugs. It seems that Yuma's undying spirit is starting to rub off on Shark, and now he's enjoying dueling again. You see, in the first Yuma vs Shark duel, Yuma won because of the special card Astral gave him. In the rematch, Shark asked Yuma to use the card, even though he said he wouldn't because he wanted to challenge himself to beat it. And since Shark succeeded in doing so, it reignited his competitive spirit. And we could pinpoint the exact moment that marks the shift in Shark's attitude. When Shark wins the rematch, he takes Yuma's necklace, but then he gives it right back. Even though he won it fair and square in a duel, he doesn't feel good about taking something so precious to his opponent.
Wait. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it like the number monsters are corrupted and that's what made like Shark kind of crazy? Like Shark was crashing out anyway. Like Shark was crashing out regardless, but didn't the number monster make him even more crazy? Kinda. It's amplified him. Oh. It basically made him worse. It's like if he had a goth girlfriend, but instead of having a goth girlfriend, it's just a card. It's just a piece of cardboard. Shark randomly gets a number card and went crazy during their first duel. He doesn't remember any of it though. Yeah. God, I wish I had a goth cardboard. So he became Duolong. Duel doesn't have a goth girlfriend or a girlfriend in general. Hold on. I think numbers like amplifiers, they don't change you fully as a person. They just make your desires and thoughts stronger and more sinister. I see.
It didn't bother him when he broke Yuma's necklace in the first episode, but something's changed. And this act of returning Yuma's necklace closely resembles the first moment that Joey showed respect for Yugi. I also enjoy the way Shark is depicted outside of duels. He's clearly similar to Joey, seeing as they're both friendly rivals who were introduced as people who would pick on the main character. However, unlike Joey, Shark stays true to the delinquent character archetype. Technically, they're both delinquents before they meet the protagonist. They skip school, hang out with thugs, take things from people, but deep down, Joey was always a nice guy. Shark, on the other hand, is anything but. When Yuma helps him sever ties with his bad influences, the thugs trying to rob the museum, he stops skipping school, and he helps Yuma in times of need. But he keeps his distance from pretty much everyone else, and he's kind of a jerk for no reason. It presents—
Wait, he keeps his distance from no one else except for Yuma? Oh my god, he's a tsundere. Oh my god, he's a tsundere. Oh my god, this is yaoi. I ship it. You know what? Real. I love that for you. Peak soon. True. Can you imagine how crazy my young Fudanshi self was going crazy? That's so crazy. I'm so sorry, brother. Kaito's still the best. I like Kaito. Yeah, Yuma gets a girlfriend. I think the cat girl was like the girl who liked him, but I think he had a crush on like the green-haired girl. Kotori, right? The green-haired girl is Kotori, I think. Yuma X Vector is where it's at. That's crazy. Oh, Kotori likes him back? I see. I know the cat girl liked him, but I don't know if it went anywhere. Kotori's Virginia. Oh, I see. How is Yuma pulling girls with this dumbass cut? Listen, man, it's the cardboard Riz. I don't know how to explain it, but I've learned that sometimes if you like card games enough, people will just find you attractive. It's why all these girls like me. It's because I keep talking about card games awkwardly, and they like hearing you yap about card games. So I think if you just yap enough about card games, eventually girls will just like you. So it's Yuma's cardboard Riz. He just keeps talking about duel monsters. Is his hair so different from other characters in the show? No, they all have terrible hair. Why don't you like them back? Because I don't like girls. it's because I don't like girls. But I think if I yap to boys about card games, they realize that I'm like a fraud, that I'm bad at card games. Like, oh, well, this girl sucks. Not my woman. Never mind. Yuma's dad literally said Indiana Jones, but you get it. Yeah. Kelly's a poser. I'm sorry that I'm stupid. Leave me alone. Learn to recite the Bible in GP. It's crazy. If she just said her chops and Mayface too, is she really your girl? It's so funny because when I do teaching streams, I always make that a note to point out to people that when you're setting traps, you have to do it during main phase too. But I fucking never do it. I literally teach people to not do that and to only set during main phase 2. And I still set during main phase 1 anyway because I'm insane. Oh yeah, the train girl. Hypocrite. I am. I literally am.
Us with a clash of personalities that was only prevalent in the original story prior to Duelist Kingdom. And I think that's actually kind of cool. There is a second rival who bears a strong resemblance to Kaiba, but we'll talk about him later in the video. I don't want to get into the plot just yet. First, I think it's important to understand why Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters skipped so much of the manga.
Okay, I'm starting to keep pausing, but may I just say, I love Kaito's stupid magical girl transformation. It's so peak. It's so good every time. Like, I was not prepared for it the first time I saw it. But when his coat changed and he gets a little like eye makeup, I was like, holy shit, that's my guy. Yeah, he's a secret shoujo anime protagonist. So true. So true. Yeah, Kaito's a Gigachuni. It's actually kind of cute. It's so cute.
And the reason is actually quite simple. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters anime, which is known simply as Yu-Gi-Oh! Outside of Japan, was the second Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. The first, called Yu-Gi-Oh! In Japan, aired in 1998 and it was animated by Toei Animation. And Yu-Gi-Oh! 1998, which we'll just call Season 0 for the sake of avoiding confusion, adapted the first 3 arcs of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga. The first arc follows a school slice of life as well as Monster of the Week format where Yugi and his friends participate in various different games. The second takes place in a theme park called Death Tea. Once again, Yugi and his friends are forced to participate in a bunch of games, but this time they're trying to rescue Yugi's grandpa from Kaiba. The third arc was about a single game between Yugi and Bakura. A lot of people still don't know about Season 0 because it never aired outside of Japan, and perhaps due to some licensing issue, Konami has never acknowledged it. Then the animation studio was changed from Toei to Gallop for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, which of course is the second Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. And as we all know, the first arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters is Duelist Kingdom. And the reason they skip so much is actually really simple. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters began airing in the year 2000. That's not a lot of time after Toei's adaptation ended, so the story of Yu-Gi-Oh! 1998 was still fresh in the minds of fans in Japan. Instead of retelling the entire story that was adapted by the Toei anime, they condensed most of it into a single episode and told the rest later out of order. So it's like a sequel and a second launch at the same time. It kinda made sense to start at Duelist Kingdom 2, since Konami knew from the manga, which was nearing the end of Duelist Kingdom, that the story would shift its focus to the card game, which is much less prevalent in Season 0. And the Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG started in 1999, which is about a year before Duel Monsters began airing. It was pretty smart from a marketing perspective. And even though I agree with the logic behind skipping as much as they did, I don't think they did the best job. Far be it from me to tell an animation studio how to do their job, but it's no secret that the way they handled things caused certain parts of the story to be very confusing. A prime example being the duel between Yugi and Kaiba in Duelist Kingdom. Kaiba just looks like a sore loser when he steps on that cliff, since all we know about him prior to this duel is that he kidnapped Yugi's grandpa over a card. Then of course he tore it up so nobody could get it back.
Wait, is he saying that he's stepping off the cliff as a sore loser? I never interpreted that way. Maybe it's because I also watched Season 0 and I had a different perspective. I don't know. But I feel like it was very obvious that he really wanted to save the whole point of him doing that is he wanted to save his brother at all costs. Like, he didn't obviously intend to jump off the cliff. He did it because he knew that Yugi would back down because Yugi's very soft. I thought it was obvious. Yeah, he wanted to he wanted to win at all costs and was willing to do anything. So He knew that Yugi would back down if he threatened to fucking kill himself, and he wanted to save his brother, so he told me he was gonna kill himself. Y'all thought he looked like a sore loser? I thought that was so obvious. What? Are you serious? I thought that was so obvious. I thought that whole plot point was obvious. Like, he kept about wants to save his brother like a billion times. Man, he was literally desperate. Yeah, he wanted to save his brother. His brother is the most important person to him. Yeah, Tim was down to kill him, but he doesn't. But at that point, Kaiba didn't know that Tem was there. He only knew about Yugi, and he knew Yugi would quit. Like, he knew that Yugi would throw in the towel because he can't let Kaiba die. If you haven't watched season 0, I feel like even without season 0, I feel like the context is there. He talks about it all the time about his brother. This year said Kaiba's been in like the episode total in the dub, the 10 episodes total in the dub, and then he just came off super cocky in his duel with versus Joey, and then suddenly the cliff moment, I guess. Yeah, I thought the context was always like there. I thought it was super obvious. He wasn't being a sore loser. He just wanted to save his brother. That's why, if anything, I hate Kaiba later on in the series, because I feel like he has way more depth in Duelist Kingdom. He wants to save his brother, and he's willing to give up anything for his brother. Like, yeah, he loves his company and loves playing games, and like, it hurt his pride to lose, but his brother, his family, and more importantly, his brother's the most important part to him. And then when you get to like Battle City and whatever, he's just an annoying little bitch. He's just an annoying bitch who cries all the time because he lost in Duel Monsters. That's when he becomes an actual sore loser. Like, that's when he becomes a fucking sore loser crybaby. But like, Duel Monsters Kaiba, that's peak Kaiba for me. That's the first duel I ever seen when I was a kid. That's fair. If you're watching it like live on TV and you didn't watch every single episode and you just happen to see that first episode, that would make sense if you thought that's why Kaiba did that. With that context, it makes sense. Like his self news for Mokuba not being a sore loser. Real. The moment I kind of got glossed over at some point, people's minds looking back, random, and they just remember he won because of it and nothing else. Yeah, they didn't, like, maybe it stems from the fact that they watched it on TV and not like sequentially, like online or like on like a DVD. So you just saw the one episode and Kaiba being like, I'm gonna kill myself now. I'm killing myself right now, instead of the context of everything prior. I remember you hated Battle City Kaiba because Battle City Kaiba sucks. His motivation is just card games and that's it. Give a man more. Funny thing is, before Kaiba got Mind Crush, Kaiba nearly killed Mokuba for failure of losing the Yugi attempt. Yeah, I feel like maybe I just interpreted differently, but I assumed, well, I feel like, or maybe the anime retconned it, right? But I always interpreted it as like, he was being a shitter to Mokuba, but after he got Mind Crushed by Yugi, I thought that he was like, okay, I was wrong. I'm sorry, Mokuba. And that's why he's softer to Mokuba now, is because he realized he was wrong and that treating him like garbage and being a menace. Yeah, I always thought the Mind Crush changed him. To better understand Kaiba, you need to better understand the relationship with Gozaburo. True. I love this video so much because it vindicates what I said about Zexal being a subtle reboot for the series, like how Black and White. I literally just said that! Oh my gosh, at the beginning of the fucking stream, I said the same thing! I said the same thing! Spinning! Yeah, I always interpret it as like he was a fucking goblin. Him and Mokuba were little shitters, but after he got Mind Crushed, he got better. I always thought that's what happened with everyone, right? After Yugi Mind Crushes you, like, you're fine. You become better. Yeah, that's how I interpreted it. That's why like he's more protective of Mokuba now, because he got Mind Crushed. But I think Duel Monsters retconned that idea into being like they were always besties. He's no longer evil after Mind Crush. He still has yeah. He's still a little shitter, but he's not like nearly as insane as he once was. I watched bits on TV as a kid, but to me, Kaiba and Mokuba didn't seem like that close, or like Kaiba cared as much like Matt and TK did, so he just seemed like a sore loser and desperate. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like he only has that similar Matt and TK relationship in like Duel Monsters, not Duel Monsters, in Duelist Kingdom, and after that, it kind of just goes away. If you bumped into Kaiba on the street, current Kaiba would be like, watch where you're going. Mon Kaiba would probably just have like, you killed, yeah! Anyway, we're like 16 minutes into an hour-long video. I'm sorry I keep
There's
yapping.
also the fact that Yugi wasn't even aware of the pharaoh for a while. And when he became aware, he was afraid because the pharaoh would commit acts of cruelty that, although in some cases were earned, Yugi would never willingly do on his own. This is why Yugi was crying at the end of the duel. The pharaoh tried to attack Kaiba while he was standing on the ledge, and Yugi didn't want to hurt Kaiba, but he can't control the pharaoh. If Anzu hadn't intervened, Yugi would have been helpless to stop the pharaoh from taking Kaiba's life. The anime actually did a decent job of patching up some of these issues with some of the filler, like Noah's Ark and Waking the Dragons, but I can't stress enough how bad the timing is of Noah's Ark, and telling things out of order just doesn't do it justice. Now, before we get back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, I need to give a quick disclaimer. Since I'm going to be talking about specific plot points, it's important to note that this video is based on the Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. I haven't seen the English version, so I can't be certain, but given that 4Kids has a bad track record of changing things, and at times completely removing them, it's very important that I make this distinction clear. And since I've only seen the Japanese version, I'm going to be using the Japanese names for characters, cards, locations, and pretty much everything else. I'm also going to spoil a lot of the story, so here's your spoiler warning.
Rip.
Everything kicks off when Astral is summoned from Yuma's necklace. The impact of Astral traveling from the astral world to the human world causes Astral to lose his memory. And while that sounds very similar to the original story, things are once again quite different. First of all, we don't know why Astral went to the human world, let alone why he went to Yuma specifically. The pharaoh doesn't have any of his memories when he meets Yugi in the original story either, but we know that the pharaoh was trapped in the puzzle for thousands of years, and Yugi became possessed by the pharaoh because he is the one who solved the Millennium Puzzle. Then we learn about the Millennium items pretty shortly after that, so it becomes clear rather quickly that Yugi was simply unlocking a special power from a special item. And the concept is mostly the same in Zexal, but in the original, the question is why was the spirit trapped in a puzzle? In Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, we know Astral came from another place called the Astral World, but the reason he went to find Yuma specifically is what's unknown. And I love the way they execute this concept in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal because Astral's memories aren't simply hidden away. They're not waiting to be uncovered by a certain action or event. When Astral's memories are scattered, they take the form of special cards, called numbers. There are exactly 100 of these cards, each containing a fragment of Astral's missing memories. So in order to remember his mission, why he traveled to find Yuma, Astral needs to collect all 100 of these cards. The problem is that the numbers have manifested in the decks of random duelists all around the world. And the only way to take their numbers is by defeating them in a duel while also using a number. Number cards can only be destroyed by other numbers. But Astral can't duel in the human world. In fact, nobody can see him except for Yuma. So instead, Astral follows Yuma around and helps him win duels while he acquires pieces of his memory. And this is awesome for a bunch of reasons. Since the numbers are fragments of Astral's memory, whenever Yuma acquires a number card, we're shown the memory that the card contained. And it feels like we're inching closer and closer to solving a big mystery. Almost every battle is like a piece of a big puzzle, a fraction of a larger picture. And get this, there's another layer to these cards. When a person touches a number, their heart's darkness and desires are magnified, but in exchange, they receive a special power that is unique to that specific number. Take for instance the case of Hayami Shuta, a small-time photographer in Heartland City. When Shuta finds the number 25 card, he gains the ability to capture glimpses of future events. Since he's always the first person to photograph these events, his photography business is catapulted into the upper echelons of the media industry.
I forgot about
However,
this.
as you might have guessed, there is a sinister twist to Shuta's newfound power. These images aren't just glimpses into the future. When Shuta takes a photo, the subject of that photo is guaranteed to suffer some type of tragedy in the near future. At one point, he takes a photo of Yuma's friend Kotori just before she boards a blimp. Later, the engine malfunctions while Kotori is still riding it. Shuta isn't capturing the future, he's manufacturing it. And he's aware of this too. In fact, he takes photos of his opponents at the start of every duel he enters to guarantee that they'll lose. It's kind of crazy how a humble endeavor towards professional advancement quickly devolved into a moral dilemma of catastrophic consequences, all because of a single card. For some reason, these powers don't work on Yuma, which may or may not have something to do with Astral's mission, we'll talk more about that later, But it's important to keep this in mind because it prevents Yuma from getting a bunch of superpowers as he collects the numbers. At first I was disappointed when I realized this, but it would be kind of insane if Yuma did. He gets so many numbers by the end of the first arc, and having the power of just one of these cards would make it near impossible for Yuma to lose. And I know that numbers not working on Yuma also makes him sound overpowered. When Shuda duels with Yuma, he takes a photo at the start of their duel that depicts Yuma losing, and Yuma simply doesn't lose because he can't be controlled by the numbers. So what's the point of these numbers if none of them work on the main character? Well, just because they don't work on him doesn't mean they don't affect him. Number 7, for example, is used to enhance the luck of the person who holds it. When a gambler by the name of Charlie McCoy discovers the card,
Wait, doesn't he date Yuma's sister? Am I crazy? That's the plot, right? Or like, he had a crush on Yuma's sister? He's her ex? I can't remember. He's an ex. Oh, I see. They kiss? Oh my god, kissing in my anime is crazy. Was he as old as their father? I don't think he's that old. I think he's the same age as his sister. They're exes. I see.
Becomes insanely lucky. He commits crimes and leads the police on wild chases. Then he always escapes just in the nick of time. But this power works during duels as well. Since he's a gambler, Charlie's deck revolves around dice rolls. And when he duels, he gets perfect roll after perfect roll. So even though the number can't apply its power to Yuma directly, it certainly has a negative impact on him. It's not easy to win a duel against somebody who has perfect luck, especially considering how much luck plays into the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Oh, and Yuma's not the only one who knows about the numbers. There are multiple factions, as well as individuals who aim to collect as many of them as possible. Since Astral doesn't remember why he went to the human world, it's unclear how others know about these cards, especially since they manifested the same time Astral arrived. But it's assumed that they play a role in his mission, and that's the basis of the story. Two of the biggest plot points from the original Yu-Gi-Oh!, the Millennium Items and the Pharaoh's Missing Memories, have made their way into Zexal as a singular concept, through the number cards. And they were actually very smart to make the items cards this time around instead of Egyptian trinkets. I always enjoyed the Egyptian theme. It's not very common in the realm of anime and manga, but the way numbers seamlessly weave the cards into the story makes it feel less like an afterthought. And that's kind of important because the cards literally were an afterthought of the original story. Since the cards were so popular, they adjusted things later on, but it's no secret that the cards were not initially intended to be a major focus in Yu-Gi-Oh! Kazuki Takahashi himself, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh!, has stated in multiple interviews that the series was created with a ton of different games in mind. The only reason the Duel Monsters card game became so prominent is because readers of the manga enjoyed it so much. There's a postcard at the end of every Jump magazine where readers can submit feedback on their favorite and least favorite series. Every Yu-Gi-Oh! Chapter featuring the Duel Monsters card game was extremely popular, so Takahashi kept bringing it back. I know this is technically a betrayal of the original story. The only game in Zexal is Duel Monsters, but the original had a bunch of different.
Wait, is that? Wait.
The only game in Zexal.
Is that art done by Takahashi? Is it? Like, I feel like Takahashi's a very like the way he colors skin is very warm, so I always recognize it. It is? That's crazy. It looks so good. God, his art's so good. His art's so good. I think you should love the company don't quote me. Oh, but Duel Monsters being popular? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the editors told him because, again, the notes came from Jump, and Jump's the one who publishes manga. And Nova Gamer. I know, Takahashi's art's really good. I don't know, I like seeing the inspiration Takahashi takes from like things to put in Yu-Gi-Oh! His mangas are quite different from what the anime shows. Yeah. I like it though. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of like the anime style, like of like Duel Monsters and like even like GX and like 5Ds. I like Zexal's art style a lot, but Takahashi's art style, Chef's Kiss, is so good. No man, one of these days I want to do an art appreciation stream. I want to sit there and just talk about art. I don't know. As someone who studied art in school, I think it's neat.
So is Duel Monsters, but the original had a bunch of different games. My favorite part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually is the Season 0 part that was not adapted by Duel Monsters, so I think it would have been cool if they kept that spirit alive, but it wouldn't make sense to bring that into Zexal since the cards took over relatively early on and remained the focus for more than 2/3 of the story. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game is so intrinsic to the identity of the franchise that they can't just take it out now. And while we're still on the subject of cards, I want to tell you guys about the third element of the numbers plot, which most people look over: card collecting.
At least Takahashi doesn't have the same relationship with his editor that Akira Toriyama, who basically turned him into a main antagonist for several of his mangas that probably fight at some point. Yeah, I find it very interesting how people interpret like their editors in manga. God, I literally saw something about. Oh no, you know what it was? I think actually Takahashi did include his editor in the manga. It's Merrick, because Merrick is like a rare card hunter, and his editor would hunt him for manga chapters. So yeah, that's I feel like every manga at some point or mangaka at some point uses his editor as like inspiration for the manga. But yeah, Merrick is inspired by Takashi's editor.
The idea of different groups racing to acquire rare cards resonates with me on a personal level. I know I'm in the minority for this since most people buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards so they can play with them. It's the complete opposite of the Pokemon game. Even though it is a playable card game, more than 90% of the people who buy Pokemon booster packs are trying to get certain cards to put in a binder. But my favorite aspect of the Yu-Gi-Oh hobby has always been collecting the cards. I have different binders for different sets, like the original Japanese prints from Series 1. And
wait, no. Oh my god. No, for a second I thought it was the Bandai cards. I was gonna go crazy.
Different binders for different.
No, for a second I thought it was the Bandai cards and I got very excited. I thought it was the Bandai cards. I think I talked about it like in another React stream. Yeah, I think we talked about another React stream, but yeah. Originally, Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game wasn't printed by Konami, it was printed by Bandai, and Bandai actually created what we know now as like the mini / Japanese size cards, because in order to fit them in like a machine like that, they had to make them thinner and smaller because standard size cards are too big. So Bandai created the Japanese sized cards for Yu-Gi-Oh! And then Konami took over and just kept the same size. More you know. Yeah, these are not the Bandai cards. I thought they were for a second, but it's not the Bandai cards.
Sets like the original Japanese prints from Series 1, and historic English sets like The Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon. I keep a sealed booster pack from almost every Yu-Gi-Oh set. I've acquired sample cards that were never intended for public release. It's difficult to explain why, but it's like putting together a museum of personal artifacts. The Mona Lisa is cool and all, but I was actually there when Stardust Dragon made its way onto playgrounds. I remember when Link Monsters debuted, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on the Link Strike starter deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal is the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime where card collecting is a central plot point. Granted, it's not like the characters are opening booster packs and sticking their favorite cards into binders, but it's this rush to get special cards before everyone else that feels so relatable. I know collecting cards was technically a big part of Battle City, since there were a bunch of people trying to capture all 3 of the Egyptian god cards. And 5Ds put a ton of emphasis on gathering the Signer Dragons. But the god cards were acquired relatively quickly since there were only 3 of them, and everybody who wanted them knew exactly where to go. The Signer Dragons are more realistic since they're so rare in real life, but again, it's only 6 cards, and the main characters weren't trying to collect them. There are 100 number cards in Zexal, with some of them being more sought after than others. And I'd argue that Zexal gave us one of the coolest dragon monsters of all time. They also gave us a new summoning method called Xyz summoning. It's not my personal favorite, that title belongs to Link summoning, but it's a cool second considering the level of depth it brought to the game, while still being relatively easy to understand. It's so simple in fact that they devoted less than a minute of screen time to explaining how it works. By stacking 2 monsters of the same level, players can summon an Xyz monster of equivalent rank. Sometimes more than 2 monsters are required, or they must share a specific type, but the fundamental concept remains the same. But what truly sets Xyz monsters apart is the utilization of their summoning material. Many of their effects necessitate a certain number of stacked cards to be maintained or discarded. It's like wielding a powerful weapon with limited ammunition. Determining how and when to use it requires some thought. This aspect of Xyz summoning is very fitting considering Yuma's growth as a duelist is central to the plot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. As he accumulates more number cards, he must learn to use them properly. And since all of his number cards came from someone else, the dynamic of integrating numbers into his own deck is so refreshing. Yugi would often whip out new cards as well, but we had no idea how he got them. He was always summoning the perfect card at the perfect time.
Oh, it was Leap.
Yuma's use of the numbers is more akin to Joey's journey through Battle City. During this arc, he uses the anti-rule to take his opponent's best cards and add them to his deck. This way is much more realistic, and it never gets old because there are so many numbers. But that's enough about the cards. The first 25 or so episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal are spent on Yuma's growth as a duelist before entering a big tournament. I know a lot of people are turned off by this part because it feels like nothing is really happening. Most of the episodes start with Yuma going to school and then dueling someone afterwards to obtain a number card. And it doesn't help that a lot of Yuma's opponents from this arc never duel again. At times it can also feel like a lecture on how to play the real game, since Yuma frequently makes mistakes and then Astro has to explain what went wrong and show him how to fix it. But hear me out, this part is definitely worth watching. I'm not a fan of the monster of the week structure, and I certainly don't enjoy it when the anime feels like a tutorial. The reason I quit watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush is because of the 13 episodes I watched, at least 10 of them were focused on a specific rule of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel game.
Okay, normally I would agree on this, but for Rush, that was a brand new format, right? That was the first time people saw Rush. So I think Rush gets the pass. I think Rush gets the pass for that. Go Rush is the second. Oh, is it really? I thought it was the first one. I always mix them up. Oh, wait. Sevens is the first one. Go Rush is the second. Never mind. I'm a liar. It's actually the point of the story because Yudis doesn't know what Rush dueling is. I see. Phony. I'm sorry. I haven't seen any of the Rush Duel animes. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm a fake. I haven't seen any of the Rush Duel animes. Is the Rush Duel anime good or bad? I don't know. From people that I've seen online, they seem to like it. So I can't confirm or deny how good it is, but I hear that people like it. A brokey and a phony. It's not my fault that I'm poor. Yeah, from what I've seen, not a lot of people have seen it, but the people who have seen it seem to like it. Duel with a Rush Duel voice actor, that's my goat. That's my goat though. Can also do like primate Lili's ride almost done building my blue eyes. Like, nice! Rush Duel anime is actually good and versus a lot of complaints people have with the regular anime. I see. For like sevens, I need to finish Go Rush, but I did enjoy what I watched. Yeah, from what I've seen, not as many people have seen the Rush Duel animes, but the people who have seen them like them. Last anime I watched all of was Arc 5. I didn't even finish Arc 5, bro. The Synchro arc was too long.
There's one episode devoted solely to explaining trap cards, another about tribute summoning, there's one about effect monsters, and I remember an episode that happens later where the main character is quizzed on what he learned in the episodes prior. But there's so much more going on in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal outside of the duels. I can't stress enough how big a difference it makes when quality time is devoted to setting up character dynamics before important events. All of the Yuma and Shark stuff that I talked about earlier in the video happens during this part of the show. Now try to imagine if they skipped right to the tournament and that's where Yuma meets Shark. I can tell you right now that Yuma does duel Shark at some point in the tournament, and without knowing the outcome, you can already imagine how much less meaningful it would be if they didn't have the pre-tournament context. And Shark's not the only important character.
I forgot what the Arc 5 was the pendulum one. It is the pendulum one. It is Arc 5 worth watching. I like it. I like Yuya a lot. But understand there's a lot of filler and it takes a lot of time. So you can definitely skip some parts of it if you want to just like jump through it. But it's, from what I watched, I liked it. But yeah, I read chat. You don't have to ping me. I can see it all. And yes, I've seen, what's it called? I've seen the Alabasta stuff. It's really good. It's very, very good. It's way better so far than the Sky Striker one.
Who Yuma meets in the first arc. About halfway through, Yuma meets a number hunter named Kite, the second rival I hinted at earlier in the video. Kite is essentially Yuma's polar opposite. Both are duelists aiming to collect all 100 number cards, which naturally puts them at odds with each other, but there's more to it than that. Yuma collects number cards because Astral helps him improve his dueling skills, and Yuma aspires to be the best duelist. Kite, on the other hand, collects them to save his younger brother Heart, who is suffering from a terminal illness. Kite's employer has promised to cure Heart if Kite collects all 100 numbers, so dueling is just a means to an end for Kite. And his employer, a mad scientist named Dr. Faker, is rumored to be the true ruler of Heartland City. Since only Astral can obtain a number card by simply winning a duel, Kite has to use special technology that was given to him by Dr. Faker. Unfortunately for Kite, this technology comes with a special price. In order to duel with a number user, he has to enter Photon mode, which drains him physically, limiting his dueling time. Also, whenever Kite takes a number, he extracts his opponent's soul as a side effect. It's not something he enjoys doing. In fact, he complains about this to a higher up, who also happens to be the mayor of the city, but he's informed that the souls of number users are already corrupted. So
Okay, I was gonna mention, what was it? I feel like Kaito, the first time you see him, is so cool. The way you hear the clock, the time stopping, his little like shoujo anime transformation scene, it's peak, bro. Kaito's so cool. Kaito's so cool. Like, people say how cool Kaiba is. I think Kaito's 10 times cooler, bro. He's so chuny that it's awesome. It's such a good time. The whistling, yeah, the fucking whistling. Oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. It's so chuny, but it's so peak, man. Yeah, I think Kaito is like cooler than Kaiba. Yeah, Kaiba can't stop time. Well, he can travel through time, but it's because he has a boyfriend. Does Kaiba have a blue eyes jet? No, but he has a whole magical girl transformation scene and throws like this little like spinny thingy to galaxy eyes, and it's rad. It's cool as hell, bro. I don't know if I can show it on stream, so I don't want to get copyright claimed by Konami. But the transformation scene he does with galaxy eyes, so cool, bro. He's so cool. Revolver's the coolest. I keep hearing how cool Revolver is, but I have not seen Brains. I need to watch it. Kaiba invented the dual disc. Yeah, but like, does he have a cool magical girl transformation? No. Does he steal souls? No. Can he stop time? No. Kaito's so cool. Kaito's him. Kaito's that guy.
it's better this way, but it's not all bad. Kite's robot assistant, Orbital 7, can freeze time temporarily, leaving only those with numbers unaffected. This allows Kite to isolate and duel his targets without any interference. He also has a duel anchor that forces his target to duel until it's over. This item
Wait, no, oh my god! It's like 5Ds with Team Satisfaction when they had those ugly-ass vests! Yeah, he can't freeze time himself. He's got a little robot to do it. They're besties, though. It's fine. Yeah, it's like 5Ds with Team Satisfaction when they like change themselves together with the dual discs. But except Kaito's got drip and Team Satisfaction were ugly.
actually appeared in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, but it wasn't used that much. Orbital 7 can also transform into various objects, like a motorcycle and a jetpack, which allows Kite to travel around the city very quickly. By now, you probably don't need me to tell you that Kite is similar to Seto Kaiba, but he actually reminds me more of Batman. I mean, just check out his introduction. During a standoff between a criminal with a number card and the police, the ceiling suddenly collapses. Time freezes, except for the criminal and Yuma who's watching nearby. A whistle echoes throughout the mall as a shadowy figure approaches. The man reveals himself as a number hunter, challenges the criminal to a duel, defeats him to acquire his number, and snatches his soul. From Yuma and Astral's perspective, this is mind-blowing. Not only is there another number hunter, but this guy is snatching the souls of his enemies. And he doesn't even need number cards to win. I know I mentioned earlier that numbers can only be defeated by each other, but Kite figured out that if a number monster runs out of Xyz units, the cards stacked underneath it, it loses its immunity to non-number monsters. Kite still uses some of the number monsters he acquires, but his signature card isn't even an Xyz monster. It's Galaxy Eye's Photon Dragon, which again is one of the best dragon designs in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! After witnessing the mall scene, Astral starts to worry. At this point, he knows his mission is to prevent the destruction of the Astral World, but he doesn't know why it's under attack or who's behind it. So if there are other number hunters, they need to act fast. The next day, Kite catches Yuma on his way home from school. Astral tells Yuma to run away, but Kite uses his dual anchor to stop him. Then Astral tells Yuma that Kite is unlike any opponent he's ever faced. Usually, Yuma ignores Astral's advice, but this time he agrees to work together. Despite their efforts, Kite dominates the duel. In fact, he's about to win the duel until he's suddenly called away due to a medical emergency involving his younger brother. But don't be mistaken, this is very much a loss for Yuma and Astral. That may not surprise you considering Yuma is generally bad at dueling, but in this duel, there were no mistakes. Astral and Yuma teamed up and they still lost. And normally I hate when the protagonist is rescued from defeat by an interruption, but Yuma's already lost plenty of times, so it's not the same scenario that we usually see. And I was actually surprised to see him lose this time because his life was on the line. Anyway, after their crushing defeat, Yuma and Astral become depressed. Yuma is upset that his life is at risk through no fault of his own, and Astral doubts himself. He experiences fear for the first time. But Yuma quickly cheers up when a big tournament called the World Duel Carnival is announced. This is their opportunity to get revenge against Kite, and for Astral to acquire the rest of the number cards since duelists from around the world are going to be entering. But Astral isn't so optimistic. Later, Kite steals Yuma's necklace and uses it to confront Astral directly. Kite challenges him to a duel where both of them wager all of their numbers. Eventually, Yuma finds out what's happening and he joins them, but something strange happens. When Yuma joins the duel, he unlocks something called the Power of Zale. He uses this power to fuse with Astral, and they duel as one being. Basically, it's Super Saiyan Yuma. The duel ends in a draw, and Kite flees the scene. The next day, time freezes while Yuma is walking to school. He looks up and he spots Kite on a rooftop. Kite says, "We'll settle the score at the World Duel Carnival." This concludes the first arc, and what an ending that was. First of all, I love the fact that Yuma has two different rivals. On one hand, we have Shark, who aspires to be the best duelist, and on the other, we have Kite, who is attempting to collect all 100 numbers. I can't praise the writers enough for this decision. Giving Yuma a separate rival for each goal is really smart because only one of these goals actually belongs to Yuma. I touched on this before, but one of the problems with Yugi and the Pharaoh in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that Yugi gets completely overshadowed by the Pharaoh. Technically, Yugi's goal was achieved when he made a bunch of friends in Season 0, since he never cared about being the best at any game. Playing games was just a means of making friends. Then he needed to rescue his grandpa and duel his kingdom, but after that, Yugi's goal became simply to help the Pharaoh achieve his own goal. That's fine and all because it led to Battle City, which was awesome. And it's mostly the same concept as what we're seeing here in Zexal. But the dynamic between Yuma and Astral is so much more intriguing. Yuma is just a kid who wants to be good at dueling. Astral is on a mission to save his home planet, so it makes perfect sense that these two wouldn't be very cooperative. And the only reason they work together is because Astral helps Yuma improve at dueling. But at the end of the arc, everything changes because they become legitimate friends. Just think of how selfless it was for Yuma to join Astral in his duel against Kite. Not only was Yuma safe from losing his soul since Kite went directly to the source of the numbers, Yuma had already witnessed firsthand how powerful Kite was. Losing wasn't just a possibility, it was highly likely. And Yuma actually would have benefited from allowing Astral to lose. By this point, Yuma had come a long way as a duelist, and if Astral lost, the target on his back would have been erased. Losing his numbers means no more number hunters. Not to mention the fact that everyone thinks Yuma is insane for talking to a ghost. But he still went out of his way to help Astral.
What
and
a
this
baby!
is what the power of Zale represents. The reason they fuse, or overlay since it's more like an Xyz summon, is because their goals have become one now that they're friends. It's no longer an exchange of services. Yuma doesn't want Astral to lose, because he genuinely cares for him. I know it's corny and introducing superpowers at the last minute feels kinda random, but the symbolism is actually really good here. And it's cool that this power doesn't come into play until the end of the first arc. The moment Yuma truly extends himself to aid Astral, something only a true friend would do, he unlocks the power of Zale. It's like at the end of Death Tea when Yugi summoned Exodia, or even the Crimson Dragon in 5Ds. The power of Zale is just another emblem of friendship. Only the power of Zale allows.
Look, why does it go hard? It's so cool, dude. It's like fucking Kaito's Magic Girl sequence, right? I don't know. The power of Zale's pretty rad. A funky transformation sequence and a cool outfit. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It itches that part of my Chuny brain. They call it Super Saiyan Yuma, but yeah, sure, it's more like Saint Seiya. You're right. But I want Kaito to win. Isn't Zale pronounced Zexal? Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. In JP, the show is actually called Zeal. The X is just there for some flavor, right? But I think in localization, I guess they got confused by the X, so they call it Zexal. The more you know. Correct. Hell yeah. So yes, the power is Zeal, the show is Zexal. Like in Hunter x Hunter, yeah, the X is silent. Or Spy Family, is a Spy X Family. Yeah, I think Zexal sounds cooler than Zeal though. But that might be just my localization little American brain, right? What does JP have against the letter X? I don't know. Yeah, I think Zexal sounds cooler. Thousand X is like Kingdom Hearts, bro, get out of here. Get out of here.
Users to fight as one, not metaphorically, but literally. And as far as rivalries go, Kite and Shark are so much better than Kaiba. Don't get me wrong, I like Kaiba, he's a cool character, But is it really a rivalry when one of the guys never wins except when he cheats? Shark beats Yuma while Yuma is the one cheating. And Kite is so good that Yuma and Astral couldn't beat him while using a literal plot armor superpower. And just a side note here, the anime is actually named after the power of Zale.
Yeah.
I don't know why there's a silent X in there, because the name is officially pronounced Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale in Japan. Think of it like Hunter x Hunter or Spy Family.
I swear to God, this keeps happening. I'll pause the video to say something, and then he says the exact same thing. I swear, I haven't watched this video. I intentionally did not watch it because I want to be able to enjoy it on stream. This is so fucking fun. I swear the most I saw was like the first 5 seconds. Pre-watch streamer, I'm not pre-watching. I swear. So fucking funny. Okay.
X in those names represents a space between two different words, whereas Zexal or Zale is a single word. Anyway, I'm going to continue to refer to the show as Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal because leaving out the X is going to get me mixed up with the power itself within the show.
True.
I hope that made sense. I'll be honest, the other main characters in this arc aren't all that interesting. Kotori is like Anzu but more clingy. She appears in every episode but never duels once. Tetsuo is Yuma's best friend at the start of the anime, but he falls to the wayside as Shark becomes more prominent.
I forgot
Happy
about
is just a
him.
rival to Kotori since they both have a crush on Yuma, and Tokunosuke is somewhat interesting. He's like if Weevil Underwood somehow befriended Yugi after tossing Exodia into the ocean. I actually like him a lot because he's not necessarily evil, but he still causes trouble for the others, which is pretty funny. But none of these guys are relevant to the plot. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. There are plenty of well-written characters in Zexal who contribute to the overall story. It's just a little odd because essentially what they did was take the two most useless characters from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! And duplicate them. Now the main character has 4 cheerleaders instead of 2. Yuma's group
Wait, who
is
the fuck is that? Who is that?
Now the main character.
I do not remember this man at all. Who is that? Who is that? Who are you? Who are you? Who, Caswell? I do not remember you at all. Okay, like, right? I remember her. That's Yuma's girlfriend. I remember her because she's also Yuma's girlfriend. I forgot you existed, but the moment I saw you, I remembered that you existed. I also forgot you existed, but once I saw you, I remember you existed. Who the fuck is that? Who is that? The guy all the way on the right is there to Aura Farm. Blood thinks he's on this team, bro. If anything, when I see him, I think of that one meme where it's like the picture of the investigation team from Persona 5 and Goku's photoshopped in. You're not supposed to notice that he's there. That's who this guy is. Like, who are you? Like, who told you were part of the team? Where did you come from? Like, what? No, what the fuck is? Yeah, Lily, who is this guy? Loki looks photoshopped. Yeah, he literally looks photoshopped. Like he's not supposed to be there. Like, where did you come from? He's the guy the antidote nurse. We don't talk about him. Why are his socks visible? I don't mind that. Man standing emoji. That's crazy. Sure, he does have the most normal looking hair of everyone. He's the most normal looking person in the whole show. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the video. Okay.
The character has 4 cheerleaders instead of 2. Yuma's group is slightly more interesting than Yugi's, but mainly because of Tokunosuke. While everyone is preparing for the big tournament, Yuma discovers that Shark does not intend to enter. He tells Yuma that he no longer duels for glory. Yuma is disappointed because he wants the rematch in the tournament, but he understands Shark's decision. Later, Shark is approached by a duelist with deep scars on his face, a man named Ford, the same guy who won the tournament that Shark was disqualified.
God, Quattro's so
He asks if
fucking
Shark will be
cool.
entering the WDC, and he says no. Ford reminds him that they were supposed to duel each other.
Wait, you're calling him 4? That feels weird.
before he was disqualified. Then he suggests that the circumstances leading to his disqualification, Shark's sister being hospitalized the night
I
before,
know Quattro is 4. His name's 4 in JP? I thought their name was Quattro in JP. What? I thought his name was Quattro in JP. What? No, I understand that Quattro also means 4. I understand that. I thought his name was Quattro in JP. What the fuck? Quattro's dub? What? That's so weird. I didn't even get to this point in dub. What? I literally stopped watching the dub after the first duel with Shark. After the first duel with Shark, I was like, this is horrible. I can't watch this anymore. So I switched to sub. How the fuck did I learn his name was Quattro? Probably was honestly through Twitter. Can JB even pronounce Quattro? I think so, but it'd be kind of weird. Not the same way we would. We didn't watch X at all. What's the kids next door shit? That's why it's 4. Yeah. They can kind of pronounce Quattro, but not the same way. You learn from the guy who's photoshopped into the group. That's crazy.
And his deck being visible right before their duel were no accident. Shark becomes enraged, but rather than resort to violence, he agrees to settle things in a duel during the WDC. Now, I know it's kind of random for Shark to have a sister, let alone one who's in the hospital, but Joey's sister was introduced in almost the exact same way in the original story. When Yugi received the Duelist Kingdom invitation after losing his grandpa to Pegasus, Joey received a VHS tape from his sister named Shizuka. And prior to the scene, Shizuka was not present in the original story. I don't think it was even mentioned that Joey had—
Wait, Serenity's name in Japanese is Shizuka? Huh? What? That makes more sense. Fake fan, I watched Duel Monsters in English. That's crazy. No, but yes? I mean, I know Joey's Jonoshi. I know that. My sister, Serenity. No, I knew that the dub names were obviously different. I didn't know their name was Shizuka. What do you know about Season 0? It's one of my favorite animes. I've seen it multiple times. She's not in Season 0, right? Am I crazy? Am I just like forgetting? Isn't Taya Anzu? Taya is Anzu. Hospital episode? I don't remember that. Oh my god. I haven't seen Season 0 in so long though. Yeah, she's like the motivation duelist kid. That's what we're talking about right now. But what's it called? Yeah, I never seen Duel Monsters in Japanese. I only saw it in English. That's crazy. They have another girl, I can't remember her name. I think you're talking about Miho. Miho is, it's funny because from what I remember, Miho only showed up like once in the manga, but when they made the anime, they wanted to throw in like another person, so they made Miho like a main character. That's why Miho's character arc kind of sucks in Season 0, because she doesn't do anything, and she's just there for Honda to be in love with. It's literally all she does.
had a sister. She did appear in the Toei anime, but
this keeps fucking happening!
adaptation took a ton of creative liberties, and they were only able to do so because, of course, the manga was ahead and had already introduced her. But it works a bit differently in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal.
Let's go sleep, because I'm tired of Noah's lies. I'm not a liar. We'll have a good neep. Have a good sleep. I'm simply just a yapper. I'm sorry.
So, because Shark has been a mysterious character from the beginning. He doesn't spend a lot of time with Yuma or any of the other main characters, so he's a lot more mysterious than Joey was. This isn't to say that Shizuka was introduced poorly. I think it was a good twist. The author wanted Joey to have a strong motivation to compete against Yugi in a big tournament where Yugi also had a strong motivation. It was a good twist for Joey to have a sister who was ill, even though it wasn't necessarily something we could predict. Another important distinction between Joey and Shark is that Joey competed in Duelist Kingdom to prevent his sister from being harmed. He needed money to save her eyesight. But Shark competes in the WDC to avenge his sister. The damage has already been done, and he's competing to make up for his own failure to protect her. She's been hospitalized since before we even knew about her, so introducing her at this time kind of explains why Shark is so mean all the time. He's not just an outcast due to being disqualified from a tournament, there's that, and his sister was in a tragic accident not that long ago. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really like the twist in Zexal. I think it's a good idea. I understand that they wanted to keep the core concept from the original story present in Zexal. But a twist like this doesn't really work because they tell us it wasn't an accident and who was behind it right after they tell us about the event itself. I really wish they put more time in between these 2 points because it's all laid out for us in a single conversation. When we discover that 4 was behind all of this, there's nothing to be shocked about because the events themselves were just discovered. We knew Shark was disqualified and now we know he didn't actually cheat, but the bigger revelation here is that Shark has a sister. The twist undercuts itself with poor timing. Anyway, Shark finds 4 pretty early in the tournament. He challenges him to a duel, but just as 4 accepts, a man named 3, yes, I know these names are silly, uses a duel anchor on Shark. Unbeknownst to Shark, 4 is part of a group of number hunters, and since Shark doesn't have any numbers, 4 isn't allowed to duel him. 3 reminds 4 of his mission, then 4 tells Shark to meet him in the finals before leaving the scene. Shark defeats 3 in a duel, then 3 gives him a special number card as a reward. Yuma, who witnessed the whole thing, starts to worry. He doesn't like that Shark is dueling for revenge, so he tries to reason with him. Shark tells Yuma to stay out of it before riding off on his motorcycle, but Astro claims that their paths
What a
will
tsundere.
definitely cross again now that Shark possesses a number card. Later in the tournament, Shark gets matched up with 4. If you recall, Shark has been gifted a number card and numbers are known to expand the darkness and desires of the person who holds it. Up till now, Shark had been doing quite well to fend off the number's influence, but when he's on the brink of defeat in a duel against his arch-rival, he willingly succumbs to its power. As a result, the number evolves into a new monster and he is able to win the duel. In the aftermath, 4 apologizes to Shark. He claims that what happened to his sister truly was an accident. He only suggested that it was on purpose because he needed Shark to enter the WDC. Shark doesn't buy it, but then 4 explains what really happened to his sister. He claims that his mission back then was simply to duel with her. 4's boss, a man named Tron, had given him a special card to use. What 4 didn't know is that this special card was a trigger that would set the entire building on fire. He
Oh
told
my
Shark
God,
that he
what the
never
fuck?
intended to hurt anyone, and the only reason his sister made it to the hospital is because he helped her escape the building, and the scars on his face are a result of that. Shark says nothing as they part ways. He now has a new target for his vengeance. Next, what happens is a duel between Yuma and Shark. Finally, the original rivals are going to have a duel on the biggest stage. But something's not quite right. When Shark surrendered to the power of his number card, the one he received from 3, he also surrendered to Tron. It turns out that Tron's plan from the very beginning was to exploit Shark's anger. 3's mission was to give Shark the number 32 card, and 4's mission was to bring Shark to his boiling point. Now that everything is in place, Tron is using Shark to accomplish his true goal, which is to assassinate Dr. Faker. We'll talk more about this in a bit, but for now, we need to take...
Wait. I heard that and I was like, huh? Because we're getting to the point of Zexal that I haven't seen yet. So this is spoilers for me, which is fine. But like, I listened to what they said, but it took a second to click. I'm like, wait, what do you mean they're killing Enigma? What? I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. Oh my God. That's crazy. It's a revenge story? Yeah, I just wasn't prepared. Like, I don't know. Like, I was listening. Like, I know murder and stuff happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, since like the very beginning. This has always been a thing. But I still get surprised by it every time. Tron wants to commit murder. God, I know his name's Tron, but like, whatever I see it, all I can think of is the movie. For Spot TVH, it's fucking wild, dude. His name is Matrix. I see. Okay.
Take a step back because Shark isn't the only one who had a shift in motivation before entering the WDC. Yuma's reason changed unexpectedly as well. He still wants to collect the rest of the numbers now that he's committed to helping Astral get his memories, but he claims that winning the tournament itself is not his focus. There's a scene that takes place the night before the WDC begins where Yuma tells Kotori that he's not competing, he's just dueling. I was pretty mad when I first saw this because one of the best things about Zexal, as I've already explained, is that Yuma has a different goal from Astral. Yugi and the Pharaoh are technically both main characters in the original story, but the problem is that it's hard to see them as two different characters because one overtakes the other. But now that Yuma's committed to helping Astral get his memories, and he has the opportunity to achieve his own goal at the same time by winning the WDC, he claims that he doesn't even want to win. Even Kotori is confused by this. After hearing all of this nonsense from Yuma about not wanting to win, she brings up something interesting. Yuma's father is a famous explorer who went missing some time ago. This was actually mentioned in the first arc, so it's not a sudden revelation like Shark's sister. I just didn't talk about it until now because this is the first time it's relevant to the story. Before he went missing, Yuma promised to his father that he would become a world champion duelist. Kotori reminds him of this promise, and Yuma maintains that he still doesn't care about winning, but he says that he will try.
Yuma's deadbeat parents? I don't want to say they're deadbeat parents. Aren't they just actually dead? Right? They're not alive, right? Or am I just misremembering? I thought Yuma lived with his sister and I think grandma because his parents are dead, right? No? They're alive. I see. Okay. You learn in Zexal too. Okay. Yeah, Yugi has his mom, but his mom doesn't really exist. She's there, but not really. I thought they were away. I thought they died.
By his best. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this scene. It feels like the writers were trying to give Yuma a classic Yu-Gi-Oh moment where the protagonist says, it's not about whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. But it fails miserably. Yuma's personal goal this entire time was to be the best duelist. Granted, he is now dedicated to Astral's mission, which is to recover his memories, but why not view this as an opportunity to achieve both?
No, but did you see Arc 5? I have seen Arc 5. It's pretty good. Oh, as the Kamen Rider Decade of Yu-Gi-Oh! I actually have not seen Decade, so I can't say anything. But I have seen Arc 5 and I like it.
At the same time, perhaps the intention is to make Yuma seem jaded. Now that he's survived an existential threat and is about to face another in the WDC, competition is no longer fun. He's not dueling for glory, he's dueling for survival. It's actually a cool idea. The only problem is that Yuma has a ton of fun during the WDC, so it's not exactly the best execution. Kite, on the other hand, is totally jaded. He's basically the best duelist around, but it doesn't matter. I bet the thought has never even crossed his mind because, while it's true that Kite has dedicated himself to dueling, it's only because he needs to collect the numbers in order to rescue his brother. But while Yuma and Shark have both seen a shift in motivation, albeit slight for Yuma, Kite has not changed one bit. But during this arc, we do finally get some backstory on Kite. So, Dr. Faker isn't just Kite's employer. He's his father. Some time ago, when Dr. Faker discovered the numbers, he forced Kite to undergo stringent...
Wait. What? Whoa, wait, we're back.
So, Dr. Faker isn't just Kite's employer. He's his father.
What the what? What? That's crazy. You didn't know? No. I haven't seen this part of our Arc 5 of Zexal yet. Zexal goes to Boro. Literally. Oh my god. That's a Vader moment. Yeah. Didn't you see the resemblance? I guess they both have like blonde hair. I guess. If no one was yapping, she would have predicted that. Yeah, if I kept talking long enough, I would have got to that point. No, I know I'm being spoiled by Zexal. I know. I'm gonna watch it regardless because I feel like watching a YouTube video is not the same experience. So I will eventually finish watching Zexal. So I don't mind spoilers in this regard. Don't worry. I'm aware.
Some time ago, when Dr. Faker discovered the numbers, he forced Kite to undergo stringent training to become a number hunter. This was very rough on him, and Kite had...
Hopefully subbed. Yeah, I hate the dub for Zexal. It's not good. It's pretty bad. Kaito's 18? I thought he was the same age as Yuma. I thought he was a baby. What the fuck? I thought he was like a little baby. He's 18. He's an adult. That's crazy. No, as much as I'm not the biggest fan of the English dub for Zexal, I do quite enjoy High Five the Sky and Feel the Flow. I think it's very cute. No, he's a grown-ass man having beef with middle schoolers.
hasn't been the same since. And in the same time, Hart developed special powers that Dr. Faker has been using to launch attacks on the astral world.
What?
We already knew Dr. Faker promised to cure Hart when he gets all the numbers, and it's been shown that Dr. Faker is an enemy of Astral, but we still don't know why he wants to destroy the astral world, and we didn't know to what extent both Hart and Kite had been suffering. But Dr. Faker's cruelty extends beyond his own family. Remember the whole thing about Tron wanting to assassinate Dr. Faker? Well, it turns out that Tron is a scientist who used to work with Dr. Faker. Together, they searched for the location.
I thought Tron was also a baby. I thought he was like a kid. What? What? He became a baby because of Faker? That's crazy. He's literally a father? Hold on. You can't let the video cook. Wait.
Of a special door that would lead to the parallel worlds. Tron suggested to Faker that they enlist the help of Yuma's father, Enigma, since he was a famous explorer. Eventually, they found the door together, but Dr. Faker had kept his true intentions a secret. When they reached the door, Faker read some hieroglyphs. When two souls are offered.
Oh my god, wait! It looks like the unknown from Pokemon. It looks like the unknown. It's like the Entei movie. It's just like the Entei movie all over again. That's the Astro language. I see. That means Yuma's dad is Entei. Entei's an exit Pog. Yeah.
Up, the door will open. A portal opened beneath them, and as the two were sucked in, Tron swore revenge against Dr. Faker. He eventually made his way back to Earth, but Kazuma is still missing. Tron's plan is
Holy
thwarted
shit.
when Yuma defeats Shark in the finals, then Tron...
Do they not explain why Tron's like a 3-year-old? Do they not explain? What the fuck?
defeats Kite to move on to the grand finals where he will face Yuma. But this duel isn't like the others. You see, Dr. Faker created this tournament to make it easier for Kite to collect the numbers. Tron eliminated Kite, so the mission should have failed. But Faker had a backup plan. The final duel between Yuma and Tron takes place in a sphere field, and a sphere field is designed to simulate the parallel worlds. So there's no gravity, but its secret function is to harness the power of the numbers. When Yuma defeats Tron, all of their numbers are taken directly to Dr. Faker, where he plans to use them to destroy the astral world.
What? Okay. Why the fuck does he have so much beef with the astral world? Why? Why does my man have so much beef? Why is he so mad? Is he just a hater? Is he just a grade A hater? Just because he feels like it? Bro hates space. That's fucking crazy.
Shark and Kite decide to team up with Yuma to face Dr. Faker in a final battle for all the numbers. Astral is trapped in the sphere field, but he's able to give Yuma 2 of the numbers, 39 and 32. Yuma hands one to Shark, and now Faker has to defeat them in a duel to get the other numbers back. When Faker is about to lose, he tells them that if he doesn't destroy the astral world, Hart will die.
What?
Kite is confused because the only reason he teamed up with Yuma and Shark was to rescue Hart. Faker explains that when he opened the door to the parallel worlds, by sacrificing Tron and Kazuma, he met someone claiming to be from the Baryon world. The Baryon offered to cure Hart in exchange for the destruction of the astral world. I know this happens a ton in Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, where the bad guy turns out to be good in the end, but this makes for a good twist when you consider the story of Kaiba's family in the original manga. Kaiba and Mokuba were adopted by a rich CEO, but Kaiba was pushed very hard to become a master of all games. This was required in order to lead Kaiba Corporation since it was a games company. When Kaiba got older, he forced his father out of the company and became the new CEO. His father was gutted by this and took his own life. What's cool about Zex—
Osaburro kills himself! What? I don't remember him killing himself! What the fuck? Wait, what? I don't remember this!
New CEO. His father was gutted by this and took—
He's fucking gyms at the way! What? The sewer slide? I thought it was a military company. Yeah, I thought it was like what's it called? The whole point is that like originally they made like guns and shit for the military, and then when Kaiba took over, he was like, nah, I don't like tanks anymore. But you know what I do like? Children's card games. But there's a side game. I think it was anime only. I see. He was like, yeah, you know my own philosophy. I must perish. What did it say about a baby in the panel? I don't know why she's carrying a baby. I don't know. Wasn't the military thing just anime only? I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. The Shockwave that's crazy! The baby, this poor baby. Why is it in the arms of a child?
Took his own life. What's cool about Zexal is that Kite's family is broken as well, but it's broken by unfortunate circumstance. The younger brother becomes ill, and his father commits heinous acts out of desperation to find a cure. Then when Kite finally stands up to his father, it feels like a betrayal. Initially, we want to side with Kite because of what he went through and all of the other things his father did, but Faker's side of the story flips the entire situation on its head. One could easily argue that Dr. Faker endured more suffering than Kite and Heart. He became a monster in order to save his son, sacrificed his best friend, and alienated his other son. And despite all of this, Kite doesn't even hate his father. The reason he is fighting him is because Kite wants to restore their family. After hearing his father's side of the story, Kite tells his father that he doesn't need to make any more sacrifices if he just believes in his own family. Dr. Faker starts to cry, but then suddenly he starts screaming. A different voice can be heard as Dr. Faker becomes possessed by a Baryon. He claims that he will destroy the Astral World, and this duel is far from over. Yuma, Kite, and Shark win the duel, and the Baryon retreats. Yuma recovers the numbers, and the Astral World lives another day. But something's missing.
What the
Yuma
fuck?
and Kite have the realization that they never got to settle the score. They're not enemies anymore now that Kite...
I'm sorry, I was not prepared for alien racism, bro. I wasn't prepared for Yu-Gi-Oh to touch alien racism. I wasn't ready. What the fuck? That's crazy. Oh my god.
no longer needs number cards, but they still have their pride as duelists. So even though Yuma is officially the World Duel Carnival champion, he challenges Kite to determine who is really the best among them. And the arc ends with Yuma losing again. I don't know how Zexal manages to do it, but I thought for sure Yuma was going to win that duel. And even though he lost, the arc ended on such a high note. Kite was able to restore his family. Yuma won the World Duel Carnival, fulfilling his promise to his father. Shark has resolved his quest for vengeance, and the Astral World wasn't destroyed. The fact that Kite is still better than Yuma is great too, because it shows that Yuma still has room to grow as a duelist. And beating Kite is another goal to strive towards. Then there's the whole thing about the parallel worlds. What does that mean? Who are the Baryons? And why are they targeting the Astral World? Now we know that Yuma's father is still alive, but we still don't know where he is. The WDC did so much to resolve a ton of the issues facing the characters in Arc 1, and now we have new questions that need to be answered. As we enter the second half of Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, it was at this point that I realized either Kazuki Takahashi was more involved with Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal than he let on, or the writer of Zexal was a huge fan of his. I suspect the answer is both, because so many of the underdeveloped and outright unfinished plotlines of the original story are present in Zexal and completed. I'll explain further in a bit. So, Yuma and his friends are back in school when suddenly the Baryons begin invading Earth. Dr. Faker's
my
plan
god,
may
more
have
alien
failed,
racism!
but they're still in the numbers, so they're going after Yuma directly. At this point, Yuma is still missing some of the numbers, but he has most of them. Yuma does well to fend off the first two Baryons, Gilag and Aulitz, but when a third arrives named Misael, he is nearly defeated. The only reason he fails is because Kite intervenes. This is one of my favorite things in Zexal. Misael's ace monster is called Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon.
Tachyon! Oh my god, it's Tachyon! Oh my god, hi! Wait, I thought this would have been like a Kaito card. I didn't think it was someone else's. So there's two guys who play Galaxy Eyes? That's crazy. They're rivals? That's crazy. So when it goes past 100, that's a baryon number, not an astral one. I see. Oh. Okay. I see. Kaito uses photons and Miziari uses tachyons. I see. So tachyons 107. I see. Because astral only had 99 numbers and baryons made more. I see. No, but you just heard the correct pronunciation, tachyon, bruh. No, they're wrong. L. They're wrong. L. It's wrong. L. Anyway.
When Kite rescues Yuma, he claims that he was drawn to this duel by his own Galaxy Eyes dragon. The two begin to duel, but it's cut short. Misael has to leave, but first, he declares that they will meet again, as there can only be one Galaxy Eyes tamer. I love this for a few reasons. Arguably the biggest difference between Kaiba and Kite is the fact that Kaiba is extremely competitive. Kite's really good at dueling, but he has displayed no desire to be the best at anything. Now that he's discovered a second Galaxy Eyes dragon, he wants to obtain it to prove he's the only one who can wield the Galaxy Eyes archetype. This was actually a thing in the original story as well, which harkens back to what I mentioned before, but it was very short-lived. Kaiba is known for his obsession with Blue Eyes, but he obtains every copy of the card very early in the story. Then there's the fact that Kite has a rival in this journey. Misael wants to take Galaxy Eyes Photon from Kite just as badly as Kite wants to take Galaxy Eyes Tachyon from Misael. The closest thing to a rivalry like this in the original story was Kaiba versus Yugi's grandpa, and that didn't last very long. They even add lore to this rivalry between the two Galaxy Eyes dragons. It's not just a rivalry for the sake of the cards, or the characters wanting the cards. It actually affects the story. And I don't think it's a coincidence that one of the Galaxy Eyes dragons is bright blue, while the other is dark red. Perhaps I'm alone in this, but I always found it odd that Red Eyes Black Dragon had a similar name to Blue Eyes White Dragon when there was no connection in the story. The Galaxy Eyes monsters aren't just named the same, they're drawn together. The cards themselves desire to be owned by a single duelist. And the fact that the duelists involved aren't the main hero or the main villain really goes to show how much depth Zexal has. I know that Kaiba's relationship with Blue Eyes went beyond the card, and it's explained in the final arc why he's so desperate to use it in every duel, but it didn't really add to the story since Blue Eyes was the best card in the game when Kaiba obtained it. We already knew why Kaiba wanted it. It was the best card in the game, and he wanted to be the best duelist. But this arc isn't just about Kite. The Galaxy Eyes rivalry is one of the minor plot points in the Baryon arc. The primary focus of the arc is the 7 sealed numbers. Yuma receives a message from his father telling him about these 7 special numbers that are extra powerful compared to the rest. He claims that the Baryons are after them, and Yuma must collect them before they
Wait, was that Rodent Raccoon? Oh my god, it's Rodent Raccoon! And the one number monster I used to make number 100 that I forgot its name. It's not Jagluvion, it's the other one that I never use because it just becomes material. But oh my god, Rodent Raccoon? That's my goat! Oh, Rodent Raccoon. I see sprite support.
He claims that the Baryons are after them, and Yuma must collect them before they fall into the wrong hands. This is obviously a reference to the Millennium items, of which there were only 7, but again, Zexal takes it a step further. While Yuma is hunting these special numbers, he uncovers the secret of the Baryons. Each of them were once human. But not only were they human, most of them were heroes. And the leader of the Baryons is Shark. I can't overstate how...
Shark was evil? Shark's not only a racist alien, he's also evil! Oh my god! He finally got his goth cardboard! Okay, let him cook.
How awesome this twist is. So, in the original story, the Millennium items were held by different members of the Pharaoh's court, and each item was used in service of the Pharaoh. But the special numbers in Zexal are wielded by Yuma's and Astral's arch enemies. Shark becoming a villain isn't that much of a shock, except that's not really what happens.
What?
It turns out that the Astral world is the aggressor in this conflict between the Astrals and the Baryons. And Astral was created in order to eliminate the Baryons. And the worst part is that the Baryons used to be Astrals. But one day, the leader of the
What the
Astral World...
fuck? I'm sorry. Holy shit. I'm sorry for judging this the Barians. I guess Astral's the racist. What the fuck? Crazy.
became infatuated with a certain painter from Austria. Then a bunch of the Astralites with certain traits and features were kicked out of the Astral World in their quest for perfection. That's what led to the creation of the Barian world. Essentially, what this means is that Yuma was fighting for the bad guys the whole time. Of course, not everyone in the Astral World is evil, but Astral's goal this entire time, even though he had forgotten it himself, was to use the power of the numbers to destroy the Barians. Kind of a crazy plot for Yu-Gi-Oh! And
what the
not
fuck?
even original for the franchise since 5Ds had a similar premise, but Zexal did such a good job of executing this. For most of the series, they convince us that one side is morally superior to the other, only to throw it all away at the end by showing us who the Barians truly are. I couldn't believe it when Shark turned out to be a Barian, and things got really interesting when the Barians turned out to be good. Now, this last point is going to seem insignificant compared to the other points discussed in this video, but it stood out the most to me in terms of relation to the original story. So, Yuma's father, Kazuma, is mentioned a bunch of times throughout Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, but it never feels like he's an important character. He's present in the story through memories of other characters interacting with him, but he went missing before the show began, so it's hard to say that Kazuma plays a major role in the overall story. But at the very end, when Yuma is about to face his final foe, it's revealed that Astral was sent to the human world by Yuma's father. Sometime after he was sent to the parallel worlds, Kazuma ended up in the Astral World. While there, he learned about the conflict between the Astrals and the Barians, and that a secret weapon was going to be sent to destroy the Barians. Kazuma didn't want that to happen, so he sabotaged the mission by sending Astral to the King's Key, which is another name for Yuma's necklace. He trusted that his son would find a way to resolve the issue and teach Astral compassion. It sounds kind of ridiculous when I spell it out like that, but the point is that Yuma's father ended up being one of the most pivotal characters in the entire story. And the reason this blew my mind is because Kazuki Takahashi suggested in an old interview that Yugi's father would play a role in the final arc of the manga. That, of course, never happened because Takahashi decided to end the manga early. There wasn't as much focus on the card game in the final arc, so the series became less popular. Then this decline in popularity caused Takahashi to end it early. And this perfectly illustrates my favorite thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. It's such a good remake of the original story. Even ideas that never made it into the original, but were supposed to, are present in Zexal, and the execution is amazing. Yuma's father was an explorer, and we knew he was somewhere in the parallel worlds, so this revelation about Yuma's father being the driving force behind the story is totally believable. The signs were there all along. And because Zexal is a reimagining rather than a replacement, it will never replace the original story. If you've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters or read the manga, Zexal is still worth a watch. If you've never seen Yu-Gi-Oh!, Zexal is a great place to start. But those are just my thoughts. Thanks again to Displayed for sponsoring this video. I just launched a brand new podcast called Anime Authority, so check that out for extra content from me.
Holy shit. What a good video, dude. Holy shit. What a good video. That rocked. That was awesome. Everyone clap. Everyone clap. That was awesome. That was peak. That was so good. That was so good. That was awesome.